Daniel Price walked through the busy space station like he did every month. He needed fuel for his ship and some supplies. Nothing special. Nothing different from 100 other trips he had made before. The station was huge. Aliens from all over the galaxy came here to trade and talk. Daniel saw the tall crystal people who sparkled when they moved. He saw the ones with 6 arms carrying boxes. He even saw the floating gas clouds that somehow could think and speak. After 15 years in space, none of this surprised him anymore. He was just a survey captain. His job was simple. He flew to empty parts of space, looked at rocks and ice, and wrote reports about them. It was quiet work, safe work, boring work if he was being honest, but it paid the bills and let him see the stars. In the middle of the station's main plaza stood an old machine. Everyone called it the Imperial Scanner. It was tall, maybe 30 feet high, shaped like an archway. Strange symbols covered its surface. No one could read them anymore. The machine was older than most civilizations. 10,000 years old, maybe more. People said it used to pick emperors back when the galaxy had an empire, but that empire fell so long ago that no one really knew if the stories were true. Now the scanner was just decoration. Tourists took pictures with it. Kids ran through the archway playing games. It had been dead and silent for thousands of years. Daniel walked past it without looking. His mind was on the paperwork he had to file. The station's fuel office always wanted 3 copies of everything, and he needed to get it done before they closed for the night cycle. Then the scanner turned on. The sound hit him first. A deep hum that made his teeth vibrate and his bones ache. Then light exploded from the archway. Not the dim blue glow it always had, but brilliant gold light that filled the entire plaza. Alarms started screaming. People shouted in a dozen different languages. Daniel froze. He could not move. The golden light wrapped around him like water, warm and strange. It did not hurt, but it did not feel normal either. His skin tingled. His hair stood up. The light was scanning him, reading him, looking at something deep inside that he did not know was there. Symbols appeared in the air around him. They spun and pulsed and arranged themselves in patterns. Daniel could not read them, but somehow he felt like they were reading him. Every screen in the station suddenly showed the same message. It appeared in thousands of languages at once. Imperial air confirmed. Genetic and resonance match absolute. Activation sequence complete. The light released him. Daniel stumbled backward, his heart pounding hard enough to hurt. The plaza had gone completely quiet. Hundreds of aliens stared at him. Some looked scared. Some looked angry. Some looked like they might fall down from shock. A crystal alien approached him slowly. Its voice came through a translator device, shaking with emotion. "Human, do you understand what just happened?" Daniel shook his head. He could not find words. His mouth was too dry. "That machine has not worked in 10,000 years. It just declared you the rightful heir to the first galactic empire." The words made no sense. Daniel was nobody. He grew up on a farm on Earth's moon colonies. His parents grew vegetables under domes. He went to a normal school, got normal grades, and joined the Survey Corps because he liked being alone with the stars. He had no royal blood, no special anything. He was just a guy who flew a small ship and looked at rocks. "There has to be a mistake," he managed to say. "The scanner does not make mistakes," another alien said. This one had scales and 4 eyes. All 4 eyes were staring at him with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. The architects built it. They were like gods. If it says you are the heir, then you are the heir. More aliens were gathering now. Security guards pushed through the crowd. News drones flew overhead, recording everything. Daniel saw his own face on the screens around the plaza, looking confused and scared. Because he was confused and scared. Within an hour, they moved him to a locked room. They said it was for his protection, but it felt like a prison. The room was nice, with a big bed and a fancy bathroom, but guards stood outside the door. He could not leave. Could not call anyone. Could not do anything except sit and wait while the galaxy apparently lost its mind over him. His second officer, Sam Carter, finally got through security that evening. Sam looked like he had run the whole way. His uniform was messy and his hair stuck up in all directions. "Captain, this is crazy," Sam said, pacing back and forth. "Half the galaxy thinks you are some kind of chosen one. The other half thinks you are a threat that needs to be removed. There are already 3 different groups planning to kill you." Daniel put his head in his hands. "I do not want this, Sam. I just wanted to buy fuel and file my reports. I know. But wanting does not matter now. That machine said you are important, and billions of people across the galaxy believe that machine. Sam pulled out his datapad, showing news feeds from dozens of worlds. Some are celebrating. Some are rioting. Some governments are already declaring loyalty to you. This is the biggest thing to happen in galactic politics in 1,000 years. But why me? Daniel asked. I am nobody. I look at rocks for a living. I do not know anything about ruling or politics or empires. I do not know, Sam admitted, but we need to figure it out fast. The Galactic Council is calling an emergency meeting. They want to decide what to do with you, what to do with me. Like I am a problem to solve? To them you are. The empire they keep talking about, it was huge. It controlled everything. When it fell, it almost destroyed the galaxy. Some species still have not recovered. The idea of it coming back scares a lot of people. A hologram appeared in the room without warning. It showed an old alien, one of the council leaders. His translated voice was serious and cold. Captain Price, we need to discuss your future. The galaxy is watching, and we are running out of time to contain this situation. Daniel stood up, forcing himself to be calm. He had faced emergencies before. Space had tried to kill him dozens of times. Pirates, system failures, random accidents. He survived those by staying calm and thinking clearly. He could do that now. I am listening, counselor. The scanner has spoken. Whether we like it or not, billions believe you are meant to lead them. You have become the most important and dangerous person in known space. The counselor paused. You must make a choice that will determine whether we face peace or another galactic war. Daniel looked at Sam, then back at the hologram. His simple life was over. He knew that now. The only question was what came next. The council chamber was enormous. It had to be, to hold representatives from thousands of different species. Some needed water to breathe, some needed poison gas, some were made of energy that floated in special containers. The room had zones for all of them, each with its own environment and temperature. Daniel stood in the center on a platform that slowly turned in a circle. He felt very small. Thousands of aliens watched him from every direction. Some looked curious. Many looked angry. A few looked afraid. He was afraid too, but he tried not to show it. Counselor Vexoth called for silence. The old alien's voice carried through the translation systems in hundreds of languages at once. We are here because the Imperial scanner activated for the first time in 10,000 years. It has named this human, Daniel Price, as heir to the First Galactic Empire. We must decide what this means and what we should do. A military officer stood up. He was from the Theron species, tall and covered in scales that flashed red with anger. This means nothing. The old empire is dead. It has been dead for 10,000 years. One machine changing its mind does not change that. We should turn off the scanner and send this human back to his ship. You cannot just ignore a sacred artifact, another voice called out. This one belonged to a luminari, a being made of glowing gas. The architects made that scanner. They shaped reality itself. To ignore it is wrong. Wrong? The Theron scales turned darker red. That kind of thinking caused the religious wars. Thousands of worlds burned because people thought old machines were gods. We will not make that mistake again. A scientist stepped forward, projecting data into the air for everyone to see. I studied the scanner's readings. The activation was real. It found something in this human's genetic code that matches the Imperial template in its database. But here is the problem. Humans did not exist when the old empire fell. They evolved on an isolated planet long after. This should be impossible. That got everyone talking at once. The chamber filled with dozens of different languages, all trying to be heard over each other. Could the scanner be broken? Someone asked. We cannot know without taking it apart. And 17 different religious groups would declare war if we tried. The scientist replied. Counselor Vexoth turned to Daniel. Captain Price, you have been quiet. Do you have anything to say? Daniel took a deep breath. Every translator in the massive room focused on him. Thousands of eyes and sensors and probability fields all pointed his direction. I am not a ruler, he said clearly. I am not an heir to anything. I am a survey captain from Earth. I just wanted to buy fuel. I do not want power. I do not want an empire. I just want to do my job and go home. A nice thought, a snake-like alien said with a tone that showed she did not believe him. But what you want does not matter anymore. The scanner's activation has already caused riots on 7 worlds. 3 governments have declared you their leader. 2 militaries are moving to either protect you or capture you. You cannot just go home, Captain Price. Then what do you suggest? Daniel felt frustration building in his chest. "We have options," Vexoth said carefully. "First, we could hide you away in protective custody. Keep you safe and secret until people forget about this. That might take decades." "So prison," Daniel said. "Protection," the counselor corrected. "Second, we could let you accept the scanner's choice. You would be crowned emperor, but only as a symbol. We would keep the real power. You would be a figurehead to satisfy those who believe the prophecy." "A puppet," Daniel said. "Third," Vexoth continued, "you could fully accept the role and try to actually rebuild the empire. Though I must warn you, this would almost certainly start civil wars across dozens of sectors." Before Daniel could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed. Armed guards ran into the chamber. An officer rushed to Vexoth's platform, speaking urgently. The old counselor's expression went dark. "It seems the decision may be taken from us. A fleet has arrived at the edge of the system. They are broadcasting a message," he gestured, and a holographic screen appeared. A human woman in a fancy military uniform looked out at them. Behind her stood soldiers from many different species. She smiled, but her eyes were hard. "I am Admiral Kate Morrison of the Imperial Restoration Fleet. We have come for Emperor Price. You have 24 hours to release him to us, or we will take him by force. The Empire returns, and the Council will not stop it." The message ended. The chamber erupted in chaos. Aliens shouted and argued. Some called for military response. Others demanded negotiation. A few simply looked terrified. Sam found Daniel in the confusion. He grabbed his captain's arm. "We need to get you out of here. That fleet has over 100 warships. If they attack while you are on this station, thousands will die." "Who are they?" Daniel demanded. "Who is this Admiral Morrison?" "Human separatists," Sam explained quickly. "They have been operating in the outer colonies for years. They think humanity should have more power in galactic politics. Now they think they have their excuse." He pulled Daniel toward an exit. "There is a ship waiting. We can get you somewhere safe." Daniel pulled back. "Running will just make this worse. Staying will get you killed or turned into a weapon," Sam shot back. "Choose, Captain. Choose fast." Daniel looked back at the council chamber. Thousands of beings were panicking, arguing, blaming each other. He thought about Admiral Morrison and her fleet. He thought about the billions of people watching across the galaxy. He thought about the ancient empire that somehow picked him. None of this was fair. None of this made sense. But running would not fix anything. Hiding would not stop a war. If people were going to fight over him anyway, he needed to understand why. He needed to know what the scanner really saw in him. "Take me to the scanner," Daniel said quietly. "What? If that machine started this, maybe it can help me end it. I need to understand what it meant. What it really saw." He looked at Sam. "I am not running, and I am not letting anyone use me to start a war. If I am supposed to be an emperor, I need to figure out what that actually means." Sam stared at him for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "You always were too stubborn, sir." "It has worked so far," Daniel said with a small smile. "Let us hope my luck holds." They moved through the panicked crowds toward the plaza where the Imperial scanner still glowed with golden light. Around them, the station descended into chaos. Security tried to maintain order. Diplomats shouted into communication devices. News drones swarmed everywhere, recording everything. And in the darkness of space beyond the station, Admiral Morrison's fleet waited. 100 warships all pointed at this one spot, all waiting for an answer, all ready to fight if they did not get what they wanted. Daniel reached the plaza. The scanner stood before him, tall and ancient and covered in symbols no one could read. Golden light still pulsed from its archway, casting strange shadows that seemed to move on their own. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. Whatever happened next, at least he would face it standing up. At least he would try to understand before he made any choice. The light reached out to him like a living thing. Daniel walked into it, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next, waiting to see if this one human could somehow stop a war before it started, waiting to see if the scanner had chosen wisely or doomed them all. The plaza was empty except for Daniel, Sam, and a few security guards. Everyone else had been cleared out. The Imperial scanner stood before them, pulsing with that strange golden light that made the air feel thick and warm. Dr. Kess appeared, the crystal scientist who had spoken in the council chamber. Her body refracted the light into rainbow patterns across the floor. No one has really studied this machine in centuries, she said. We do not understand how it works. Approaching it again could be dangerous. More dangerous than a civil war? Daniel asked. She tilted her head, which for her species meant agreement. A fair point. I am Dr. Kess. If you are going to do something foolish, I should at least record what happens. Daniel almost smiled. Scientists are the same everywhere. Curiosity is universal, Dr. Kess agreed, activating her recording equipment. The scanner reads genetics, yes, but also something deeper. Maybe quantum patterns, maybe the shape of probability fields around living beings. Some think it measures compatibility with an ancient computer network that once covered the whole galaxy. Daniel reached toward the archway. The light grew brighter, and suddenly everything changed. He was no longer in the plaza. He stood in a vast space that should not exist. Dimensions folded in ways that hurt his brain. Information flowed around him like rivers of light. Streams of data showing trillions of lives, millions of worlds. The entire history of the galaxy compressed into something he could almost understand. In the center of it all, something spoke, not with sound but with pure meaning that went straight into his mind. Welcome, heir. We have waited for you. Daniel tried to speak, but his body was not really here. This was happening inside his mind somehow, in whatever space the scanner operated. I do not understand, he thought. The Empire was not a government. It was a system. A vast network of intelligent machines working with living beings. The architects built it to be guided by people with a specific pattern, a way of thinking that promoted balance and growth instead of control and stagnation. Images flooded Daniel's mind. He saw the first empire at its peak, not ruled by tyrants but guided by people who could connect with the network, people who could feel the needs of trillions and make decisions that helped everyone. He saw the collapse when the last compatible person died and the network shut down, fragmenting into chaos. You carry the pattern, the presence continued, not just in your genes. Humanity evolved it independently as some other species did, but you specifically have the brain structure and quantum resonance needed to connect with what remains of the Imperial network. Why me? Daniel demanded. There are billions of humans, trillions of beings in the galaxy. Why one random survey captain? Not random. You spent your life at the edges, learning to see patterns in chaos, making decisions with incomplete information, balancing risk and reward. You do not want power. You want to help. These traits, combined with the brain pattern, make you compatible. What if I refuse? The network stays dormant. The galaxy continues as it is, slowly falling apart as species fight each other. Resources run out. In 3,000 years, maybe less, this galaxy will break into tiny isolated groups that will eventually fail. Daniel felt the weight of that future. It pressed down on him like a physical thing. And if I accept? You become the living connection for a system designed to help everyone thrive. You will not rule through force but through access to information and resources no single government could gather. You will not command. You will coordinate. You will not conquer. You will connect. The Council will never accept that. The Council is afraid of losing power, but they also know the galaxy is dying. Climate collapse on 1,700 worlds, 7 wars, economic systems about to fail catastrophically. They need change, even if change scares them. Daniel thought about his parents on their farm, about friends he lost to pirate raids, about children he saw starving on worlds where governments could not coordinate help, all the small tragedies that happened every day because no one had the bigger picture. What would I have to do? Accept the neural interface. Let the network activate fully. Become what the architects intended. Not a king, but a gardener tending the garden of civilization. I do not want to lose myself. You will not. The interface enhances. It does not replace. You will still be Daniel Price, but you will also be more, see more, understand more, and you will carry a burden no one should bear alone. Then I will not bear it alone, Daniel said firmly. If I do this, I choose my own advisors. People I trust, and the old council stays. They adapt. This is not about replacing one power structure with another. It is about building something new together. The present seemed to think about this. Unconventional. The architects designed the system for one person. The architects are not here. Daniel shot back. Maybe that is why their system failed. Too much power in too few people. If I am going to be your emperor, we do it my way. Shared power. Checks and balances. Transparency. Nothing happened for a long moment. Then the present seemed to laugh. Perhaps the pattern chose better than we knew. Very well, Daniel Price. Become what you are meant to be. Shape the system as you want. Just remember that billions will depend on you getting it right. No pressure, Daniel thought. The light exploded around him. Suddenly he was back in the plaza, gasping for air. But he was different. He could feel it. Information flowed at the edges of his mind. Networks of data connecting millions of systems across the galaxy. He could sense Admiral Morrison's fleet at the edge of the system. Could feel the panic in the council chambers. Could touch the vast sleeping machinery of the Imperial network waiting to wake fully. Sam caught him as he stumbled. "Captain Daniel? Are you okay?" Daniel looked at his friend. For a moment he saw not just Sam but the complex patterns that made up a living being, the choices and chances that led him to this moment. It was beautiful and terrifying. "I am okay," he said. "But everything is about to change." Dr. Kess approached, her instruments flashing with data. "Fascinating. Your brain activity increased 300%. You are processing information at rates that should be impossible for an organic brain. What did you see?" "The truth," Daniel said, "and a way forward." He straightened up. "I need to speak to the council, and to Admiral Morrison. We have 24 hours to change the course of history. I would rather not waste them." Above them, the scanner's light continued to glow, but now Daniel could hear its song, could feel the vast machinery of the ancient empire waking from its long sleep, ready to try again, ready to be better this time. If he could convince everyone else to give it a chance. He took a step toward the council chambers, and the network flowed with him. Information about 1,700 dying worlds, 7 wars that could be stopped, economic systems that could be saved. All of it accessible, all of it waiting for someone to coordinate the effort. He was not a king. He was not a conqueror. He was a gardener with the biggest garden in the galaxy. Time to get to work. The council chamber was still in chaos when Daniel walked back in. But this time he walked differently. He moved with confidence he did not have before. The neural interface was not perfect. It gave him information, not all the answers, but it was enough to see connections that others could not see. Counselor Vexoth noticed the change immediately. "You look different, Captain Price." "I am different," Daniel said. The scanner did not just identify me. It activated a connection to the Imperial network. I can access systems that have been sleeping for 10,000 years. I can see economic flows, resource distributions, crisis points across hundreds of sectors. He paused. "And I can see exactly how close we are to complete collapse." The chamber went quiet. The Theron Admiral stood up fast, his scales turning dark red. "This is what we feared. The machine took him over. He is a threat now." "I was not taken over," Daniel said calmly. "I was enhanced. And I am offering you access to information that could save billions of lives." He gestured, and data appeared in the holographic display, pulled directly from the Imperial network. "These are climate projections for the 1,700 worlds Dr. Kess mentioned. Current efforts will fail within 5 years, but the Imperial network has protocols that could stabilize them in 18 months. He changed the display. "These are the 7 wars. I can see the supply lines, the communication failures, the old grudges driving them. And I can see ways to end them that neither side has thought of because they lack the bigger picture." Dr. Kess was studying the data frantically. "This is incredible. These models account for variables we have not even measured. If this information is real?" "It is," Daniel said. "And there is more. The economic collapse you all fear? It comes in 3 years unless we restructure the trade networks. The network can show us how." He looked around the chamber. "I am not asking you to give up your governments or dissolve the council. I'm offering partnership. I can be the central point for information and coordination, but you make the decisions for your own people. And we should trust that you will not use that power to control us?" The Theron Admiral demanded. "No," Daniel said simply. "You should verify everything I tell you. Hold me accountable when I am wrong. The interface gives me data, not wisdom. I am still human. I will make mistakes. That is why I need all of you." A luminary counselor floated forward, her gaseous body pulsing with thought. "You speak of partnership, but Admiral Morrison and her fleet demand submission. How do you plan to handle them?" "By talking to her," Daniel said, "and by offering what she actually wants." "Which is?" Vexoth asked. "Recognition. Humanity has been in the galactic community for less than 200 years. We have been treated as newcomers, restricted in where we can settle, limited in council representation. Morrison does not want an empire. She wants humanity to have a real voice, he paused, and she is not wrong to want that. Before anyone could respond, Daniel reached through the Imperial network. It was strange, like thinking at the universe and having it listen. Admiral Morrison's face appeared in the display, looking surprised. "Admiral," Daniel said, "I am Daniel Price. We should talk before anyone does something we will all regret." Morrison's face hardened. "You have 15 hours left, Price. Surrender to us. Accept your role as Emperor. We can avoid bloodshed." "I already accepted my role," Daniel said, "just not the way you expected. I am not going to be a symbol for human supremacy. I am not a weapon for your political agenda. But I will make sure humanity gets fair treatment in galactic politics." He gestured to the council. "We are restructuring the system. Humanity gets 3 new council seats, including a permanent position on the Security Directorate. You get the recognition you fought for. Why should I believe you? Because I can show you the data." Daniel opened the connection wider, projecting information. "I can see every human colony, every settlement, every ship. I can see where we thrive and where we struggle. And I can see we are not the only ones held back by the current system. 17 other species are in the same position. If we work together instead of fighting, we can build something better." Morrison was quiet for a long time, studying the data. Her advisors talked urgently behind her. "You offer seats, not control," she said finally. "I offer influence earned through merit and participation, not power seized through force," Daniel corrected. "That is what the Empire should be. A framework for cooperation, not domination. And if we refuse, then you attack the station, kill thousands of innocent people, and even if you somehow capture me, you will find that I cannot be forced to serve your agenda. The interface responds to my intentions, not my captivity." He leaned forward. "Or you can stand down. Accept the compromise. Help me build something worth building." "Your choice, Admiral." The transmission went silent. Daniel could feel the tension through the network. He could sense the probabilities branching out, showing possible futures. Most ended in violence, but a few led somewhere better. Sam touched his arm quietly. "You are gambling everything on her making the right choice." "She is a soldier, not a tyrant," Daniel said quietly. "She joined the Separatists because she thought the Council was corrupt and humanity was oppressed. I am giving her a way to fix that without war. She will take it. You cannot know that." "No," Daniel admitted, "but I can hope. And I can make the offer good enough that hope has a chance." Hours passed. The Council argued about the proposed changes. Some saw opportunity, others saw a threat. But slowly they began to accept that Daniel was not trying to rule them. He wanted to coordinate with them. The data he provided was too valuable to ignore. Finally, with 2 hours left on the deadline, a message came through. Admiral Morrison appeared again, but this time she looked tired instead of angry. "I consulted with my fleet commanders and the colonial representatives. We accept your proposal with one condition. Humanity gets full access to the Imperial network for research. We want to understand this technology, not just benefit from it." Daniel smiled. "Agreed. Dr. Kess will coordinate the research teams. Welcome to the new Empire, Admiral. It will be messy and complicated and nothing like the old one. But maybe that is better." Morrison actually smiled back. "Maybe so. My fleet stands down. But Price, if you betray this trust, you will find I'm much better at war than politics." "Noted," Daniel said. "Let us try to avoid that." The transmission ended. The council chamber filled with mixed reactions. Relief, continued argument. But the immediate crisis had passed. No battle today. No war tomorrow. Just the hard work of building something new. Counselor Vexoth approached him. "You handled that well. Perhaps the scanner chose wisely." "Or I got lucky," Daniel said. "Ask me again in a year when the next crisis hits." "There will always be another crisis," the old counselor said. "That is what civilization is. Solving problems continuously. The question is whether we solve them together or separately." "Together," Daniel said firmly. "That is not negotiable." "Good." Vexoth studied him carefully. "Tell me, Emperor Price, do you actually want this role? Or are you just accepting it because no one else will?" Daniel thought about the question. Through the interface, he could feel billions of lives, could sense the vast machinery of civilization grinding forward. It was overwhelming and humbling and terrifying all at once. "I want to help," he said finally. "This is how I can do the most good. So yes, I accept. But I am not going to pretend I am anything more than a farmer's son who got impossibly lucky and impossibly burdened at the same time. That, Bexoth said, may be exactly what the galaxy needs. Daniel left the chamber with Sam beside him. So what now, Emperor? Sam asked. Now we get to work, Daniel said, and hope I do not mess this up too badly. Comforting, Sam said. Welcome to Empire Building, Daniel replied. It is terrifying all the way down. But despite the fear and the weight, he felt something else too. Hope. The galaxy was broken, yes. But broken things could be fixed, and maybe he had been given the tools to help fix it. The Imperial network hummed in agreement, ancient machinery waking to serve a new age. 3 months passed since Daniel Price accepted the role of Emperor. The galaxy was still adjusting to what that meant. The Council had restructured. Humanity and 17 other species got better representation. The Imperial network was slowly connecting with existing government systems, providing data and coordination without taking over local control. It was messy. It was complicated. It was far from perfect, but it was working mostly. Daniel stood in the Imperial Coordination Center. That was the official name for his headquarters on Station Kepler 7. Sam had chosen the name deliberately. No throne room, no palace, just a workspace. Dr. Kess worked at one of the science stations studying data from the network. Sam handled communications with various governments. A small team of advisors from different species managed logistics and policy. It felt more like a research station than the center of galactic power. That was exactly what Daniel wanted. Status report, he said. The interface already told him everything, but saying it out loud helped him think and helped the team feel included. 16 of the 1,700 climate crisis worlds are showing improvement, Dr. Kess reported. The protocols are working better than expected. But we have a problem on 3 worlds. Local governments are resisting the changes. Why? Daniel asked. Religious objections. They view modifying their planet as an offense against their creator gods. Dr. Kess showed the data. We could override them through emergency authority, but that would destroy the whole principle of local control. Daniel finished. What do the populations want? Surveys show 70% support for the changes. But the governments are not democratic. Dr. Kess looked troubled. Those worlds will be uninhabitable in 4 years without intervention. Daniel closed his eyes, feeling the problem through the interface. He could sense the competing values. Religious concerns clashing with survival needs. No easy answers. Open channels with the religious leaders, he said finally. I will speak to them directly. Maybe we can find a compromise that respects their beliefs while saving their people. And if they refuse? Sam asked. Then we offer asylum to anyone who wants to leave. Provide resources for evacuation, Daniel said. We do not override their choices, but we do not let their decisions trap people who disagree. It was not perfect. Nothing was. That was the hardest lesson Daniel learned. Being emperor did not mean having perfect answers. It meant making difficult choices and living with the consequences. An alarm pulsed through the network. Daniel's attention snapped to a crisis developing in the outer rim. A dispute between mining colonies had turned violent. 12 dead already, both sides calling for military support from their home governments. We need to intervene, an advisor said urgently, before this becomes a full war. Daniel reached through the interface, pulling data from the area. He could see the history of the conflict, the economic pressures driving it, the real grievances on both sides, and he could see a solution if both parties could be convinced to accept it. Sam, get me Admiral Morrison, he said. Her fleet is closest. I need peacekeepers there within 6 hours. On it, Sam said, working his console. Dr. Kess analyzed the mineral rights dispute. I want to know the actual value of what they are, fighting over and whether there are alternatives. Already. Calculating, she replied. Daniel split his attention between the developing crisis and the routine problems flowing through the interface. Food distribution issues in Sector 7. A medical research breakthrough that needed fast regulatory approval. A diplomatic incident from a translation error spiraling into major offense. Each problem needed attention. Each decision affected millions. This was what being emperor actually meant. An endless stream of problems needing solutions. Choices affecting millions. Constant awareness that every decision created ripples he could not fully predict. His parents called on the secure channel he set up for them. His mother's face appeared on a private screen, looking worried. Daniel, honey, are you eating enough? You look thin. Despite everything, he smiled. I am fine, Mom. They feed me here. You always say you are fine, his father said, appearing next to her. Even when you are not. This Emperor thing seems very stressful. It is, Daniel admitted. But it is important work. I am helping people, Dad, billions of people. I know. We are proud of you. His father's expression softened. But take care of yourself, too. The galaxy survived without you for 10,000 years. It can handle you taking a day off. I will try, Daniel promised, though they both knew he would not. There was too much to do, too many problems needing attention. The interface never slept, and neither did the crises it revealed. After the call ended, Sam approached with a report. Admiral Morrison deployed peacekeepers to the mining dispute. She wants to know your proposed resolution. Daniel pulled up Dr. Kess's economic analysis. The minerals they are fighting over are valuable but not unique. We compensate both colonies for exclusive rights and redirect mining to 3 nearby asteroids with similar deposits. Nobody loses their investment. Nobody has to fight. That simple? Sam asked skeptically. That's simple, Daniel confirmed. Most conflicts are about resources and fear. Give people enough of both and they usually choose peace. He paused. Usually. The day continued at its relentless pace. Small victories, minor setbacks, systems that worked and systems needing adjustment. Daniel coordinated with the Council on trade negotiations, consulted with scientists about promising energy technology, mediated a dispute between 2 species over boundaries contested for 3 centuries. By evening station time, he was exhausted. The interface helped process information faster, but it did not eliminate the mental strain of making important decisions every few minutes. Dr. Kess found him staring at a map of the galaxy, tracing connections between systems. You should rest, she said. There is too much to do. There will always be too much to do, she countered. That is the nature of civilization. You cannot solve every problem personally. I know, but I have to try. She studied him with her crystal eyes. The old emperors failed, not because they lacked power or information, but because they forgot they were mortal. They pushed until they broke. When they broke, the empire broke with them. So what do I do? Build systems that do not depend on you alone, Dr. Kess said. Delegate. Trust others. Remember, you are facilitating cooperation, not providing solutions. The galaxy survived without the empire for 10,000 years. It was messy and inefficient, but it survived. Your job is not fixing everything personally. It is making it easier for everyone else to fix things together. Daniel thought about that. Through the interface, he could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down, the awareness of every crisis and every need. But Dr. Kess was right. He could not do this alone. Trying would only lead to failure. Okay, he said finally. Tomorrow we establish regional coordination centers. We train local administrators to work with the network. We build backup systems so my failure does not mean everyone's failure. A wise decision, Dr. Kess said. Now eat something and sleep. The galaxy will still be here in the morning. Daniel laughed tiredly. You sound like my mother. Your mother is clearly very intelligent. He left the coordination center and walked through the station's living areas. He saw daily life of thousands of beings from hundreds of species. They lived and worked and loved and argued, completely unaware that decisions affecting their futures were made by a nervous human who still felt like a fraud. But that was okay, Daniel realized. They did not need to know. They just needed to see things getting better. Slowly and imperfectly, but better. His quarters were modest, hardly different from his old cabin on the Wanderer. He refused the fancy rooms the council offered. This was enough. A place to sleep and think and remember who he was before the scanner changed everything. As he lay down, the interface still humming in his mind, Daniel thought about the future. In 1 year, real progress on climate crises. In 5 years, economic stability in failing sectors. In 10 years, maybe something resembling real cooperation, or maybe it would fall apart. Maybe he would make terrible mistakes. Maybe someone would kill him or the network would fail. But tonight, 12 people were alive who would have died in that mining conflict. 16 worlds were healing. Billions had slightly better odds of surviving. That was enough. It had to be enough. Daniel Price, former survey captain, now emperor, closed his eyes and slept. And in the vast imperial network, ancient systems hummed with satisfaction. tending to civilization alongside their imperfect, stubborn human gardener. The galaxy had not gone mad after all. It had just gotten a second chance. 6 months had passed since the scanner changed Daniel's life forever. The Imperial network was fully active now, spanning millions of systems across the galaxy. But it was not the Empire people feared. It was something else. Something new. Daniel stood in a conference room with holographic displays showing progress across dozens of sectors. Regional coordination centers were online in 20 locations. Local administrators from hundreds of species had been trained to interface with the network. The system was distributing authority instead of concentrating it. The climate stabilization program is ahead of schedule, Dr. Kess reported during the morning briefing. All 1,700 worlds are responding to treatment. We saved 3 that would have been lost. What about the 3 religious worlds that refused help? Daniel asked. 2 accepted a modified approach that respected their beliefs while still implementing necessary changes. The 3rd chose evacuation. We relocated 42 million people to new colonies. No casualties. Dr. Kess paused. They thanked us for respecting their choice, Daniel nodded. That felt like a real victory. Not forcing his will, but offering options and letting people choose. Economic restructuring is showing results, another advisor reported. The trade network reforms prevented the predicted collapse. 17 formerly struggling sectors are now stable. Unemployment across the affected regions dropped by 40%. What is the cost? Daniel always asked about costs. Every solution created new problems. Some powerful trade guilds lost monopolies. They are not happy. We are monitoring for potential sabotage or political backlash. Keep watching. Make sure we respond to their concerns where we can. We are not trying to destroy their businesses, just make them fair. The meeting continued through status reports on medical initiatives, education programs, infrastructure projects. The work was endless, but it was also working. Slowly, imperfectly, but working. Admiral Morrison joined via hologram from her flagship. Her fleet had become a peacekeeping force responding to conflicts before they escalated. She looked tired but satisfied. We resolved 2 border disputes this week without firing a shot, she reported. The information you provided about historical trade routes and resource distribution gave both parties a basis for negotiation they could accept. Any hotspots we should worry about? Daniel asked. The Varus sector. 2 species are competing for colonization rights on a habitable planet. Old grudges are involved. It could get ugly. Send me the data. I will see if the network can find a compromise. After the meeting ended, Daniel walked to the observation deck. He liked coming here to think. The stars looked the same as they always had, but he saw them differently now. Through the interface, he could sense the life teeming around those distant suns. Trillions of beings, each with their own hopes and fears. Sam found him there, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Real coffee from Earth, a luxury Daniel appreciated more than he probably should. You look thoughtful, Sam said, handing him a cup. I was just thinking about how strange this all is, Daniel said. 6 months ago I was surveying asteroids. Now I coordinate policy for half the galaxy. How did this become my life? An ancient machine scanned you, Sam said with a slight smile, and decided you were the right person for the job. But why? I keep asking myself that. What did it see that made it choose me? Maybe it saw someone who would question whether they deserved the role, Sam suggested. Someone who would not assume they had all the answers. Someone who would build a system that could function without them. Daniel sipped his coffee. Dr. Kess said something similar. That the old emperors failed because they made themselves essential. They forgot they were mortal. And you are building something that does not need you to survive, Sam said. The regional centers can operate independently. Local governments maintain control. If you disappeared tomorrow, the system would keep working. Is that good or bad? Daniel wondered. If I am not essential, what is my purpose? To keep the garden growing. To coordinate. To help people see connections they miss. That is what you do, Daniel. Not rule, not control. Just help. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Daniel felt the network humming in his mind, a constant presence he had learned to live with. It still overwhelmed him sometimes. The weight of so much information, so many problems, so many lives depending on decisions he helped make. But he was learning to share that weight. The regional administrators handled local crises. The council managed policy. Admiral Morrison dealt with security. Dr. Kess led research. He did not have to carry everything alone. I got a message from the 3 religious worlds, Daniel said. The ones that initially refused climate help. What did they say? They want to join the coordination network. Not because we forced them, because they saw that we respected their choice and it made them want to participate. Daniel smiled. Apparently treating people with dignity works better than threatening them. Who knew? Sam laughed. A revolutionary concept for imperial governance. Daniel's interface pinged with an alert. He focused on it, accessing the data. A scientific discovery on a research station in Sector 8. A breakthrough in faster-than-light communication that could revolutionize coordination across the galaxy. I need to get back, he said. Something big just came through. Always something, Sam said, but he was smiling. At least it is never boring. Back in the coordination center, Daniel found Dr. Kess already analyzing the data from Sector 8. Her crystalline form practically vibrated with excitement. This is incredible, she said. They found a way to use quantum entanglement for instantaneous communication across any distance. If this works, we could eliminate the delays that make coordination so difficult. What do they need? Daniel asked. Resources for expanded testing, access to facilities across multiple sectors, approval for experimental protocols. Daniel interfaced with the network, checking resource availability and scheduling. Within minutes, he had coordinated support from 7 different governments, allocated research facilities, and fast-tracked the necessary approvals. Done, he said. They can start expanded testing next week. Dr. Kess stared at him. That would have taken months through normal channels. You did it in minutes. That is what the network is for, Daniel said. Cutting through bureaucracy when speed matters. Making it easy for people to work together instead of fighting over procedure. Over the following weeks, the communication breakthrough proved viable. Research teams from 20 species collaborated on refinement. The first network of instantaneous communication relays went online, connecting major population centers across the galaxy. The change was profound. Governments could respond to crises in real time. Scientists could collaborate without delay. Cultural exchanges happened instantly instead of across weeks or months of transmission lag. Daniel watched it happen through the interface, feeling a deep satisfaction. This was what the Empire should be. Not one person ruling, but millions of people working together more effectively because barriers had been removed. Counselor Vexoth requested a private meeting. The old alien looked thoughtful as his hologram appeared in Daniel's office. I wanted to tell you something, Vexoth said. When the scanner first activated, I was terrified. I thought we were about to see the return of tyranny and the end of the Council's authority. And now? Daniel asked. Now I see that the scanner chose better than any of us could have. You have not diminished our authority. You have made our work more effective. The Council operates better now than it has in centuries because we have the information and coordination we need. That was always the goal, Daniel said. I did not want to rule. I wanted to help, and you have. More than you know? Vexoth paused. But I worry about you, Emperor Price. This burden you carry, the constant attention the network requires. Are you taking care of yourself? Daniel thought about the question honestly. I am trying. I have good people around me. Sam makes sure I eat and sleep. Dr. Kess makes sure I delegate. My parents call every week to remind me I am still just their son. Good. Because the galaxy needs you healthy more than it needs you perfect. Remember that? After the counselor left, Daniel returned to the observation deck. He did this more often now, taking breaks to just look at the stars and remember that he was human. Fallible. Limited. Temporary. The network would outlast him. The systems he built would continue after he was gone. That was the point. He was not building a legacy for himself. He was building infrastructure for everyone else. His communicator chimed. His mother's face appeared, smiling. Hi, honey. Just calling to check in. Are you doing okay? I am good, Mom. Really good, actually. You sound different. Happier, maybe? Daniel considered that. I think I am. I was scared at first, overwhelmed. But I am finding my rhythm. Learning to work with people instead of trying to fix everything myself. That is my smart boy, she said warmly. Your father says hello. He is proud of you. We both are. Thanks, Mom. That means a lot. After the call, Daniel stayed on the observation deck a while longer. Through the interface, he could feel the pulse of the galaxy. Billions of beings living their lives, struggling, succeeding, failing, trying again. And now they had better tools to help each other. Better information, better coordination, better hope. The scanner had chosen him to be emperor. But what he